They had been waiting for over 30 hours now, neither woman leaving her spot on the couch, afraid that if they left, they couldn't get back in. Minnie had been hoping and praying that Smokey would cop, but she was afraid now to become too excited, aware that if Smokey hadn't copped, she would have to commit herself to a hospital or kick cold turkey. Smokey came through the door and headed straight toward the bedroom. The attic surrounded Tess, asking questions. The word spread through the room that Smokey had copped. Big Ed made his way across the room and entered the bedroom, closing the door behind him. Inside the bedroom, everything was already laid out on the bed. A large mirror with a sifter lying beside it was already in place for use when the time came. Small amounts of milk sugar had been meticulously measured out and placed out of the way on the edge of the mirror. By the time Big Ed entered the bedroom, he had to step over Smokey's coat in the middle of the floor, where she had dropped it in her hurry to reach the bed. She was propped up on the edge of the bed, sifting heroin through the sifter. She ran the drug through until there were no more lumps in it. She continued to strain it until she had it just the way she wanted it. As Smokey worked, her mind was busy. It had been a long time since they had allowed themselves to get caught like this, but it was one of the hazards of being a drug user. Whenever a really big bust went down, the users in the streets paid dearly for it. The panic had reached nationwide proportions. She smiled to herself as she thought how lucky she was to have a man like Porky. He had made sure she would have some kind of dope to keep her sickness off. "How many will it take?" Porky asked impatiently from the side of the bed. "It won't take much more than a faux cut and steel be anything," Smokey replied, not stopping her hands moving smoothly. Porky opened the envelope she had given him, quickly counted the money, then counted it again. "Hell, it ain't but $3 left in here, Smoke." "The bastard charged $1 for each piece, Porky," she answered, not bothering to look up. The thought never entered her mind that he would doubt her, and he didn't. "God damn, that's twice as much as this pure is worth." Porky quickly calculated up the price he had paid for the dope. "Ed, you go out there and tell them junkies that I ain't selling nothing but $20 packs. You can also tell them that if they ain't but one goddamn penny short, they can't cop." His barrage of words didn't surprise Smokey in the least. She knew him so well, she could have bet he would raise the price. It was all a matter of business, though. They had had to pay double price for the junk, so, quite naturally, they would have to up their price. "Send Dave in here to pack up this shit, too," Porky yelled at Big Ed as he went out the door. Smokey finished cutting the dope, walked over to the dresser, and took out her works and cooker. She removed a small spoon from the drawer. "You gonna use the $10 spoon, Porky, to measure up the $20 packs?" "You goddamn right I am," he growled. "What you think I was gonna use, bitch, a quarter spoon?" She ignored his outburst and went back to the bed to fill her cooker up with stuff. Dave entered the room without knocking. He was short and thin, a brown-skinned man nearing 50. His hair was almost completely gray, while his thin mustache was speckled with gray. Porky picked up 2 album covers and dropped them on the bed. He sat down across from the pile of dope. "I want you to pack up all that stuff, Dave, and I'll give you a blow when you finish. Don't let your fingers get sticky," he added, "'cause I'll be right here on the case." Big Ed stuck his head in the door. "You want me to start collecting some of this money, Porky? Everybody out here keeps trying to push it in my hand. Seems they got the idea they might not cop before you run out." "Not yet, Ed. Tell them fools we ain't gonna run out no time soon, so rest easy." Porky wished the words were true as he said them. He knew the dough would last a while, because he had 10 pieces, but as big as his business was, he'd be out of dope in less than 2 days. Gigi came into the room in time to answer the phone. "Is Snake on the line, Porky? He wants to know if you're all right." With a grotesque smile, revealing his yellow teeth, Porky reached for the phone. "Well, well, well. If it ain't the big dope dealer himself, what can I do for you, King Snake?" On the other end of the line, Snake could feel the blood rushing to his head. Instantly, the thought ran through his mind. They got some dope. "You all right, Porky?" he asked, unable to control the pleading note in his voice. All at once, Porky began to laugh. The feeling of importance filled his very being. He could almost reach out and touch the vibration of fear in Snake's voice. He knew Snake was afraid of being denied the opportunity to cop from this more influential dealer. For a moment, Porky toyed with the idea of just turning him down, but his capricious disposition, mixed with his greed, was too much. "The only thing I can let you have, Snake," Porky said, his agile mind adding swiftly, "is a piece of cut stuff." On the other end of the line, Snake caught his breath. A piece of stuff? He hadn't hoped for such good luck. He glanced around the room at the addicts watching him. He could almost make his money back off of them. "How much, Porky?" $400 for one piece," Porky replied, then added, making sure he had his fish caught in the net, "I'm selling $10 packs for $20 right now, Snake, so you shouldn't have no problem getting your money back out of it." Porky mentally counted up his initial investment. After spending $1,000 for a piece of pure, cutting it 4 times, which gave him 5 pieces, selling one of those cut pieces for $400, he was left with 4 pieces of cut dope. At that rate, he would have paid $600 for 4 pieces of cut dope. When he broke that down, it would come out to about $150 apiece. Not bad at all, he reasoned, as he waited for Snake's reply. After a short debate with Teddy, Snake hurriedly answered, "We on our way, Porky. Hold that piece for us." He hung the phone up and spoke to one of the dope fiends in his overcrowded apartment. "If anyone comes to the door, Jake, tell them I went to cop. I'll be back in an hour." He hesitated for a moment. "Don't let nobody else in, though, until we get back. Just tell them everything's going to be all right." Teddy spoke up from the door. "You better tell them it ain't gonna be no more $10 packs. All we gonna have is $20 packs, or 3 caps for $15. They left the apartment together. Neither man was sick. They had bought some paregoric earlier and cooked it up. That bastard is sticking it to a Snake? 400 fat ones for some cut stuff? How much you figure we can make out of it?" Snake remained silent, counting to himself. "The way I got it figured, Teddy, is that we can get at least 20 packs out of a fourth of dope. All right, we gonna get 4/4 out of a piece, so that should give us at least 80 packs. 80 packs at $20 a pack should bring us somewhere near 1,600. I'm not counting what we would use ourselves, but there's plenty room." They climbed in the late-model car Snake had bought since they started dealing. It wasn't brand new, but it was only 2 years old and still ran smoothly. Snake started the motor up, but before he could back up, a car full of addicts pulled up beside him. "You all right?" one of the dope fiends yelled out of the back window. "I'll be back with some skag in less than an hour," Snake replied. "You sure, Snake? We've been hearing that same bullshit for the past 2 days now. Every goddamn body will be right back, but we don't never see nobody coming in the door with it." "Don't worry," Snake answered. "I ain't just talking out the side of my neck. I done already called, and the stuff is there. Only thing about it is that it's gonna cost $20 for a $10 pack, and we ain't giving up no credit." A noisy chorus of voices answered him. Most of the addicts were angry over the extravagant price, but their mutterings died down as the thought sank in that Snake really was on his way to pick up some dope. The driver pulled the car out of the way so Snake could get past. Before he could get away from the curb, a cab pulled up beside him with 2 women in it, one white and one colored. "Snake," the colored woman yelled. "You all right, honey?" she asked while wiping her nose with the back of her hand. "Yes, Shirley. Everything's sweet as it could be." Before he finished speaking, she was climbing out of the cab. Her partner paid the driver and jumped out on the other side. Snake raised his eyebrows at the other girl. "She's all right," Shirley said, coming up beside the car. "We work out at the same hotel. She left a man a couple of days ago, so we've been staying together." "Do she use?" Teddy asked from the passenger side of the car. "Carrie," Shirley said as soon as her girlfriend walked up. "That little man over there wants to know if you use." Carrie laughed lightly. She was tall and blonde, with a long, keen nose and pale blue eyes. As she leaned down, Teddy could tell she used because her eyes were beginning to run and she kept sniffling. "Fuck all that shit," Snake said, and opened the car door. "Come on, we got business to take care of." Both women climbed into the back of the car. Teddy turned around in the seat and stared at Shirley. She was a tall, light-colored woman with a dazzling smile. She'd been on stuff for over a year, but it had not caught up with her yet. She still had a beautiful shape and was able to make quite a bit of money whoring out of the large white hotels downtown. She was one of the few black women Teddy had ever seen with freckles.